It's not being hard on yourself. It's not shaming yourself in those moments and saying, what's wrong with you? Why are you still accepting this? The only reason they keep doing this is because you've allowed them. It's your fault. No, we do not speak to ourselves that way anymore. We speak to ourselves with a voice of self-compassion. And don't tell me you don't have that voice, because it shows up every time someone else in your life is going through this. You have that voice. You just never learned that you are the number one person in your life who deserves to hear that voice. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Beyond Words with me, Nejwa Zabian. I've always been a firm believer in the power of words to heal what they didn't break and to break what they had no right in breaking. And today's episode comes from a post that I made on Instagram yesterday, and it's a topic I'm really passionate about, especially because you would never think that I would advise you to do this. And the topic is, maybe you should just tell them off. And I'm not saying it from a place of walk around in your life with the mentality of, I'm going to tell everybody off. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking to those of you who have been quiet during moments when you really had the right to tell somebody, stop doing that. That really hurts me. I don't deserve that. I'm talking to those of you who are walking around just trying to keep the peace, feeling like you're constantly walking on eggshells, feeling like your reaction is the problem, when really it's the action that caused the reaction in the first place. I'm talking to those of you who have been brainwashed to believe that they're supposed to be the bigger person at all times. And if they react to whatever the environment around them does, or the people in that environment around them do, then they're the problem. And I'm here to tell you, you are not the problem. When people who pretend not to like drama accuse you of being dramatic because of the way you've responded or reacted to their disrespect, to their mistreatment, to their treating you as if you are less than, to their minimization of you, to their degradation of you, they're the ones who are dramatic. But the accusation comes as projection. When people know that they are lying to us, they will accuse us of lying as a form of projection. If I accuse you of this thing I'm doing, then you're on the defensive. The light is on you and your actions and your behavior. Therefore, I can escape accountability because we're focused on you. We're focused on your reactions. We're focused on the way that you understand situations. We're focused on the way your mind thinks. But I'm free because I've projected the thing I'm doing onto you. Now you're the one who has to prove to me that you're not actually lying, that you're not actually doing something behind my back that you know would hurt me. Do you see how some people operate in this world? And they end up getting away with so much. And you're sitting in a position where you're thinking to yourself, the only safe option for me is to keep my mouth shut. And I want you to be honest with yourself. Does that feel like actual safety? Where you feel like, oh, I can fully be myself and I can be authentic and I can express myself and I can express my feelings and I feel safe in that? Or is it the opposite of danger? Is it fear that if you do speak up, that if you do say something, that if you do raise your voice, that if you do say, stop that hurts me, I don't deserve that the consequences are going to be so much worse? And so you've learned that the safest option is to shut up. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. Some people bank on your silence as they plan to hurt you. Some people know that you have the mentality that says, be more mature, be the bigger person, as they intend to say something to you or do something to you or put you in a position where you feel like you really want to fight back, you really want to say something. And they are very aware that you're scared of saying something and they get pleasure in that. They know they're hurting you. Okay, I need you to put that through your head. It's not like, I know there's a part of you that says, if I explain it to them in this way, if I show them a different perspective, if I show them the angle I'm coming from, if I show them the side of my life that they haven't seen, that would explain to them why this behavior hurts me so much, then they'll understand. They already know. Trust me. Especially if you've listened this far into the podcast, the people that you are dealing with already know how they're hurting you. This is not just a one-time odd thing that you've gone through where somebody unintentionally hurt you or where somebody unintentionally caused you some kind of pain. You know that you've been in a certain position with certain people in your life who have been constantly giving you something that you so badly want to scream back at, but your default is to go quiet. Your default is to brush it under the rug. Your default is to say, I'm bigger than that. Your default is to say, that doesn't affect me because it's happened so many times and I've become immune to it. You have not become immune to it. You are pretending like it doesn't get to you. You know it gets to you. You know it hurts you. But the excuse of, I've become immune to it, is coming from a place of, I'm protecting myself. It's better for me to say that that doesn't affect me anymore so that I could just leave it at the surface and not really dive deeply into it. And we've talked about this before. Sometimes when you pile up the pains on top of each other, you know that if you let one thing get to you, you're going to have to go back to all the things that you ignored and let them get to you too. And you know you can't handle it because it's too much. It's too heavy. I'm here to remind you that the number one answer I have for moments when you convince yourself that these pains don't hurt you anymore, these accusations don't hurt you anymore, these situations where you're made to feel like you're small or where you're made to feel like you're not important or you're made to feel like you're not considered. When those things happen and you tell yourself, this has happened so many times that it would be stupid for it to get to me anymore. It doesn't get to me anymore. Let people be who they want to be and let them treat me how they want to treat me. I end up choosing the way that I want to handle it. And the way that your body and mind and soul tell you to handle it is to just pretend like you didn't hear it, to pretend like you didn't witness it. That's protective. And the number one thing I need you to employ in these moments is self-compassion. It's not being hard on yourself. It's not shaming yourself in those moments and saying, what's wrong with you? Why are you still accepting this? The only reason they keep doing this is because you've allowed them. It's your fault. No, we do not speak to ourselves that way anymore. We speak to ourselves with a voice of self-compassion. And don't tell me you don't have that voice, because it shows up every time someone else in your life is going through this. You have that voice. You just never learned that you are the number one person in your life who deserves to hear that voice. You've learned to put yourself last on your list of people who are important in your life. And So much beauty comes with that because it makes you humble, it makes you caring, it makes you someone who really wants to be there for the people in your life. But you can hold both truths, that maybe your ability to put other people ahead of you makes you a beautiful caretaker of them, and at the same time, it makes you fall short when it comes to yourself. Both things can be true. Why not include yourself in the love that you so easily give to everybody else in your life? Why not sit with yourself in moments where you're judging yourself and saying, how could you accept this for the 100th time, for the 10th time, for the second time? How could you accept this? And instead of saying those things to yourself, you say, I get it. And I'm really sorry that you've gotten used to this. I'm really sorry that you've been made to believe over time that this is how you deserve to be treated and that there's no other possibility. You've been made to believe that this is all you're going to get from these people. Let me give you some examples. Maybe you have a friend group that's been really mean to you, that makes fun of you, that you know, even though you don't have any real evidence, you could just pick up on their energy that they hate you and that they love to see you suffer in some way. It could be family members. It could be someone that you're romantically involved with, where you're so aware that they hate you. You're so aware that they're jealous of your accomplishments. You're so aware that they see you as either competition or a punching bag or somebody who they've placed in a role that has nothing to do with being a romantic partner. Think of the stories in your life, and I'm sure up to this point you already know. You know who you're thinking of, and it's so interesting that we always think we are the only person going through a certain struggle, but trust me, if you were to just sit down with a random stranger and open up this topic, they too will have someone in their life or someone's who's a bully in their life or who constantly pushes them to their limit and banks on the fact that they're a good person, that they won't say anything, that they're very kind, they're very nice. You're not the only one in this. I've experienced it many times in my own life. So if you are in this situation where there's a repeated pattern, these people constantly put me down. These people constantly talk about me behind my back. I can't prove it, but I know it because when I show up, I can see the look on their faces. They've been talking about me. And when I'm sitting with them and they give certain looks to each other, I know that they're referring back to something they already agreed on that has to do with me that doesn't resemble me. I can see the look of happiness in their eyes when they see that something they said got to me. It's like they enjoy my suffering. If you're going through that right now, I want you to give yourself permission to tell them off. Telling them off doesn't have to look like this big fight. It doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to take you out of your character, even though I know you don't see yourself as the person who tells people, hold on, this thing you did really hurt me. This thing you did is coming from a place that's really ugly within you. I know that you don't see that as part of your character because you can't admit to yourself that you can actually see the ugliness in others, because you think if your eyes see ugliness in them, then that reflects a part of you that isn't good. You think that being kind and nice means always seeing the best in people. When that best doesn't exist, why do you continue to paint them with kindness? Why do you continue to scratch out the bad things they said and say, oh, they didn't, I mean, they said it, but they didn't mean that. They're coming from this place. Here's this excuse. Here's that excuse. Why do you keep doing that? When they're being mean to you, they're being cruel to you. They know what hurts you and they're doing it. Why are you the bad person for seeing the bad that they're doing? So tell them off. Tell them, stop right there. I do not accept being spoken to that way. Stop right there. I know I've been quiet every single time you've done this thing that has disrespected me. Every single time you've said this thing that instantly disrespected me. I know I've been quiet, but I'm not okay with that anymore. And you need to stop it. Tell them, I am above being spoken to that way. Tell them, I know what you're doing. And you need to stop. Tell them off in a way that feels like you're giving your anger, your sadness, your hurt a fair voice. And I know there's a part of you thinking, but if I do that, then they're going to see me differently. They already see you differently. Okay? They already don't see you for who you are. That's why they think they can get away with the things that they've gotten away with up to this point. Let them see you differently. Let them see you as somebody who stands up for yourself. Let them see you as somebody who doesn't take crap from people. Let them see you as somebody who knows who the hell you are. Let them see you as somebody who they need to think twice before they even think of saying something that could remotely make you feel disrespected. Let them see you differently. Maybe that's what you need in your life. But if they see me differently, then they're going to walk away. Okay. Let them walk away. The only way they're willing to keep you in their life is if you stay quiet at every single thing they say that they know is hurting you. Do you want people like that in your life? You know the answer to that question. And I know how hard it is. I know how hard it is to come to the point where you just accept that these are not your people. I know how hard it is to imagine a life without them in your life, where you don't see them as often, where you don't speak to them as often, where you're not on good terms. Let me tell you, okay, this is coming from, take it as big sister advice, or if you're older than me, take it as little sister advice. You will be shocked at how much more disrespect they do towards you behind your back after you let them walk away. I'm telling you this from personal experience, where I always questioned myself and always thought, well, maybe they're not saying bad things about me. Maybe they're not intending to hurt me. Maybe it's just me and the way I'm reacting. Maybe it's my sensitivity. Maybe I want to be included so badly that I look at every little sign that I'm not included as intentional. Like, I really went inward and I really truly tried to keep myself in check and to ask myself, am I reacting to the situation this way because of my own insecurities and because of my own past and traumas and history of being excluded and fighting hard to be seen and loved by those around me? Or is this situation genuinely one that grants this kind of reaction from me? I really questioned myself for years, if you want to know where this episode is coming from. And when I finally could not do it anymore and spoke up and said, stop that, I'm not okay with it. The best way for me to describe it to you is All the times I was feeling excluded and like these people intended to hurt me felt like little sparks that were coming out of a volcano. Like just, little things here and there, little signs that something is not right. And after I spoke up, it felt like that volcano erupted. And I found out that every single thing I had a gut feeling about was true. They were intending to hurt me. They were intending to make me feel small. In fact, they were going around to people who knew me and saying things about me that weren't true. Trying to make my character look like I'm a fraud. I'm not really who I say I am. And let me tell you the amount of anger that came up for me when I found out those things. And it wasn't just anger that, how could you say those things about me after everything I've done for you? But it was anger at myself. Anger at myself for not trusting my own intuition. When I tell you to trust your own intuition. When I tell you at the first sign that somebody is intending to hurt you, trust yourself. But it's as if I looked at those people as, you're a human. You're working on yourself. I'm not going to allow my oversensitive intuition to treat you differently. Just because I know so much about how people operate and just because I've learned how to trust my own intuition and my own judgment, I'm not going to rush to apply those things to you. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. And I was letting myself down in the process. And nothing in my life started to work out the way it should have been working out before I told them off. And before I let them see me differently. Because it was in that moment where I finally stopped pushing down the pain and stopped pushing down my gut feeling and stopped pushing down my feelings of embarrassment and humiliation. Like, how could you be treating me this way? In the moment when I let all of these things come out and said, stop. I'm not okay with that. I don't get spoken to that way. When I did that, it's like something inside of me said, but if these people cared about you, they wouldn't put you in this situation in the first place. Not once, not twice, not 10 times, not 100 times, not 1,000 times. They wouldn't. It's like my inner knowing came to the surface and said, all this time you thought keeping your mouth shut, keeping everything hidden would make these people see you as a kind, nice person. And they will see the light and be like, we shouldn't be treating her that way. All this time, that's what you were thinking. But the truth is, if these people genuinely cared about you, they would not have even tried to push your limits to see how much disrespect you're willing to accept. These people walked into your life with the wrong intentions from the beginning. Because people who walk into your life with the right intentions, with clean and pure intentions, do not test your limits. When somebody knows what your pains are and they continue to dig knives at them, those aren't your people. Those are people who know exactly what they're doing. And I'm not saying they have more power than you do, because I know you feel powerless in their face. They don't have more power than you do. Maybe you feel that way because they have the ability to throw poison at you and sit there and laugh at your suffering and say you deserved it because you've accepted it so many times. Because you've allowed us to throw this poison at you and you've taken it, so you deserve it. It's not our fault that you're dumb. That's how they think. Do you want people like that in your life? Truly, ask yourself that question. I know every part of you is screaming right now that you know what you need to do, but you're so terrified. And it is terrifying. It was terrifying for me. But the level of freedom I felt is unmatchable. On top of saying, tell them off, and on top of saying, let them see you differently, I want to say one more thing. Let them hate you. Let them hate you. It is, in fact, a badge of honor that people like them hate you. Because people like them spread hatred in the world. People like them are cruel. People like them are mean. People like them love to see people suffer. People like them look down upon vulnerability. People like them make fun of sincerity and authenticity. Isn't it amazing that they hate you? Because what does it say about you? You represent everything that opposes what they believe. Why would you want them to like you? You want them to hate you. Okay? Write that down somewhere. Tell them off. Let them see you differently. And let them hate you. The right people for you, trust me, the right people for you will not get you to a point where you feel like you're a balloon that's been pumped and pumped and pumped with poison to the point where you just completely explode and a side of you comes out that you say, I didn't even know I had this within me. Like you brought an anger from within me that I didn't know existed. And now everybody in the world gets to see me this way. And they might isolate these moments and say, oh, wow, I never saw you that way. I never saw you as somebody who speaks and uses those words. People who are good for you and people who you actually want to love you will never put you in that position. They won't. And if they do once, or they get close to that, they take responsibility. They apologize. They put forward a commitment to never do that again. And they act upon that commitment. They make it come true. People who are good for you and the people who you do want to love you will never put you in a position where they make you believe that your reaction to what they did to you is the reason they now see you differently. They will never do that to you. So I'm going to put a fire under you, and because you're reacting to the fire and you're burning and you're getting yourself to a safe place, I'm going to see you differently. I'm the one who put you there. Sometimes people set you up because they want to see how far they can push you. They want to see you scramble to get to safety. They want to see you lose it. They want to see you say words that they know it's not in your nature to say. They want to see you look like you're disoriented. They want to see people in their lives looking at you in those states and saying, oh, I know what you mean when you say those things about her, about them. Are those people who you genuinely want in your life? No one who loves you will set you up for failure. They will set you up for success. Like we had this, one of the first things I learned in teaching is when you walk into a classroom, you set students up for success. The first task you give them needs to be one that's so easy that you know everybody's going to do well at. And that way they all get perfect or close to perfect. And their very first impression of you is that you're a teacher who has given them an amazing grade. So they want to show up better. People who love you set you up for success. They look at the tiniest good things that you do and they notice them about you, and they tell you that they notice them about you, and they're grateful for them. Thank you for making me that coffee. Thank you for doing this little thing that you knew was going to make my day better. Thank you for taking this thing off my plate and taking it on your own, on top of everything else that you have. Thank you for smiling in a moment when I really needed that. Thank you for sitting in silence with me, because you know that that's how I calm down. People who love you will never put you in a position. I'm just talking about romantic love, okay? Even in your workplace, people who are good for you do not put you in a position where they give you something they know you're going to fail at just so that they could sit back and say, I knew it. That's not care. That's not tough love. That's them taking pleasure in your suffering and in seeing you fail and seeing you stress. People who care for you and whose love you should want will never put you in a position where you say to yourself, what am I going to do to make you not hate me? Listen to the words. Like, if you have someone in your life who you feel like they hate you, why are they somebody who you want to like you? Why? Like, sit with that question. And if you've listened to the podcast up to this point, you know exactly what I'm going to say. Who from your childhood do they represent for you? Do they represent a parent that always made you feel like you needed to work hard to earn their love? Do they represent a neglectful parent whose approval you always wanted, who you always wanted to notice you and to give you attention? Who do they represent? Remember the episode where I said, you're not attached to them, you're attached to what they represent. Who do they represent for you? The people who are good for you will never put you in a position where you have to tell them off. Never. They will never put you in a position where you get to a point where the pain is so painful that your voice comes out in a way that you don't even recognize it. Those aren't your people. It's time for words from me to you. And I'm going to read you the post that I wrote yesterday. And what I would like for you to do as you're listening to this is just close your eyes and listen, okay? Take in every word as, let it go straight to your heart, because I know that by the end of it, you will know exactly what you need to do. It's going to reveal truths to you about the people in your life. And give yourself permission to believe those truths, instead of letting that excuse come in and the other excuse come in but I don't know how to do it. Sit with the truth. Being the bigger person is cool, but have you tried telling them off? Some people bank on your silence. They know you're too kind to say anything, so they will push you to your limit. They're not dumb. They know they're hurting you, and they take pleasure in it. Some people get close to you only to know what your biggest pains are. Once they study you, they start stabbing your scars to make the wounds fresh again. They know they're hurting you, and that's exactly their intention. You sit back and think, I told you this is how I've dealt with these pains my whole life. How could you be doing this to me, knowing how it makes me feel? Some people love to see you suffer. It's just who they are. No amount of you being kind to them will make them treat you well. You have to accept that. You have to stop thinking, if I'm kind enough, if I'm quiet enough, if I treat them the way I want to be treated, they'll see the light one day and be good to me. They're banking on your silence. They're banking on your kindness. They're banking on your integrity. It's the reason they targeted you. So sometimes the best thing you can do is speak up and say, that's not okay with me. I do not accept being spoken to that way. I do not deserve to be treated this way. Let them swallow their cruelty that they try to project onto you and make you absorb it. Tell them off. It's not giving them a taste of their own medicine. It's simply not accepting the poison they're giving you. That's all you're doing. You're saying, I see what you're doing and I'm rejecting it. I see what you're trying to project onto me and I'm saying, I don't want it. So if it hurts you to have to take it back, that's because it came from you. If you were to actually take what's within me, you would get love, you would get kindness, you would get belief in the best version of you, you would get patience, you would get consideration, you would get me putting you as a priority in my life when I think of how my actions are affecting you. But you're not taking anything from me. You're trying to project all of your negativity onto me, and I'm simply saying, I will not take that. It's time for words that found me. Now, I couldn't find the author for these words, but you hear them all the time. And honestly, they just came to me at the right time. The only people who get upset about you setting boundaries are those who benefited from you having none. Period. End of story. When people have a hard time with you putting them in their place, or have a hard time with you saying, you would never do that to somebody that you actually care about, it's because they benefited from your silence. It gave them a feeling of superiority, especially if they already think that you're better than them. I've broken you and I'm watching you suffer. What sick-minded people are these people? You know this. Okay? The part of you that's trying to make sense of them is the part of you that is a good, consistent, kind person. You're like, I would never do that. You would never do that. But they would. And they did. They have been doing that. So see them for who they are. I hope this episode brought you some feeling of being seen, of being heard, of being validated, of being vindicated in a way. Because I know you've been sitting with yourself for all this time saying, maybe I'm too sensitive. Maybe I'm overreacting. You're not. People who care about you do not put you in a position where you reach your breaking point. They just simply don't. They do the complete opposite of that. People who are good for you and who love you sit by your side as you navigate those things. They're not the ones causing them. If this episode helped, I hope that you can share it with someone who you know it will help, or someone who will understand your experience. I hope this episode helped you find healing beyond words, and until next time, have a lovely day.